So after the Ring Magazine card on Saturday, here's some of my main takeaways. One, American boxing needed a card like this. It seems like most of the time the best events are in the UK or Saudi, and I think the US only had two good cards this year, Benavidez Morel and Inoue Cardenas. But this card from start to finish lived up to expectations. Two, the judging seems quite inconsistent, which has always been the case in boxing, but definitely for this card. On one hand, you have David Morrell getting outlanded and dropped on the back foot, but then he gets a decision over Kataev. On the other hand, you have Puello outlanding Matias on the back foot slightly, but then Matias gets a decision. I get both were competitive fights, and I get people evaluate criteria differently, but there's a lack of consistency. Three, I like Turki Al-Sheikh setting up fights in the ring. When he told Subriel Matias, you're going to be fighting Dallin Smith November 22nd in Saudi Arabia, I think that's good matchmaking. It keeps the fighters active, and the fans know what to expect. Four, nobody should be calling Shakur a runner again. There's so much talk about a shrinking ring or a Tom and Jerry fight, but Shakur, he stood in the pocket with Zepeda, a high-volume puncher, went toe-to-toe with him, outlanded him, outboxed him. He completely dispelled those rumors. And last but not least, you can only get the big fights with your mouth for so long. Fair play to Berlanga, he might have made $10 to $15 million out of this in the Canelo fight, but he's lost all his stock now. The only potential options would be a Plant or a Charlo, but definitely not on a big stage like this.